Good evening. Welcome to the 2025 Boyertown Area School District School Board Candidates Forum. My name is Shannon Omler, and I serve as Communications Coordinator at St. John's. It's my pleasure to welcome you here tonight on behalf of our congregation and staff. At St. John's, we're guided by 4 core values, one of which is intentional relationships. By sponsoring tonight's forum, we are putting that value into action. We believe in being actively engaged in our community, and this event reflects our commitment to being a meaningful part of what's happening in Boyertown. I want to thank Anna Musapapa, who is our timer this evening. She is a student at Middle School West, and she's involved in the Youth and Government program there. She's treasurer, I believe, yes. And thank you to Pastor Bob Mockamer, who will be serving as our moderator this evening. All 7 candidates that you see named here on the place cards were invited to tonight's forum. We did not hear back from everyone, but we did hear from Ruth Diroff and Jeff Zawada, who with regret could not attend tonight. Each candidate will get up to 2 minutes for opening remarks. Questions submitted this evening will be correlated and asked to each candidate, and they'll get 1 minute, up to 1 minute to respond. And we'll end the evening with closing remarks by each candidate for up to 1 minute. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for taking this time to stay connected to our community and to hear and get informed about what's going on within our schools.
I want to add my thanks for your being here. Thank you for representing the community for each of the 3 regions. Ruth Diroff, Matt Ware, Michelle Wiley in Region 1, Tony Panarello, Jason Dorosky in Region 2, and Jeff Zawada and Lynn Connor in Region 3. There are orange cards. I believe all of you or most of you have submitted questions. They're working on sorting them. We'll do our best not to duplicate questions. And if there is something during the time of our conversation this evening that you forgot to put on a card, please, by all means, feel entitled in the best of ways. Go get a card, write it down, and get it into the deck, and let's see if we can get there. If your card and your question is not asked, know that we're not trying to in any way disregard you. We'll do the best we can with time, and that we have 4 candidates before us. My guess is we could get through a whole lot of material. The opening comments will be limited to 2 minutes, and Anna, will be giving you a 30-second warning, so she'll flash your card, and let's practice that. We're at 1 minute and 29 seconds, and here we go, and how's it gonna look, Anna? All right, with a smile, right? That's pretty good, that's pretty good. That's our youth and government student there. After opening comments, we'll move into the question time. I'll read a question, and then in order of the numbers, the cards that you picked, we'll begin, and then each subsequent question will move to the next person in line. Now, again, coincidentally, 1, 2, 3, and 4, all in line. So this will be an easy one. If you don't mind, hold applause until the very end. It's going to be, I think that's hard to do, because I think when I hear a good answer, even when I hear an answer that isn't pleasing to me, I still want to applaud, because that's the whole reason for having this evening. It's to hopefully not hear the same, not hear a rubber stamp, but to hear original, authentic comments. Again, thank you to all of you. Amy Musapapa is recording this. This will go live on St. John's site, and I'm guessing some other places as well. And Anna, our timekeeper. Now this will applaud. And especially to you. So thank you for being here. Okay, our first person to comment will be Michelle. Opening comments, 2 minutes. You got your timers? You sure? You ever used a cell phone before?
No.
All right, here we go.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to come and to join us for this discussion. My name is Michelle Wiley, and I hope that you will elect me as a member of the Boyertown Area Board of Directors in Region 1. Throughout this discourse, I hope to convince you that I really am a viable candidate for this position. I would like to start by sharing a little bit about my personal journey. My passion for education was ignited in 3rd grade. Mrs. Williams was my teacher. Growing up as one of 7 children, 6 girls and a boy, there really was not anything too extraordinary about me at home. But in Mrs. Williams' class, I felt special. She thought I was extraordinary, therefore I thought I was extraordinary. She taught me to dream, to imagine a life far beyond that which were my circumstances at that time. In her classroom, my opinion mattered. My voice was heard. My education has been a game changer in my life. I'm very fortunate to have received an outstanding education in the public schools of PA. And it really did make all the difference in my life, and therefore in the lives of my children, and therefore in the lives of their children. I spent my entire professional education teaching math in middle school and high school. I then went into administration. I was a middle school principal. I was an elementary principal. And I worked in urban, suburban, and rural school districts. All of them had their challenges. I earned my PhD in educational leadership at the University of Penn, working Yes, it is that.
Timekeeper. Well done.
Hi, good evening. My name is Matthew Beer, and I'm running for a seat in Region 1, along with Michelle and Ruth Giroff. Some of you know me, some of you are getting to know me, but I hope that after tonight, through meaningful, open, and respectful dialogue that we can have here tonight, that you'll get to know what I'm all about, and why I'm running for the Boyertown Area School Board. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. I have 2 children in the district, so I'm vested in this district. I'm in it for the long haul. I have 2 children at Washington Elementary, one in 2nd grade, one in 4th grade. So I have many years ahead of me. So the decisions that I'm going to make as a school board member are not only going to affect the here and now, but for years to come. And hopefully my children will stay in the Boyertown School District. I'm a husband. My wife and I moved to Washington Township in 2016 because we liked the educational system of Boyertown. We also liked the rural developments of this district. I grew up in a rural district, so I appreciate the time that parents take to go from elementary school to field, getting the Wawas on the way. So again, I understand, right, the struggles and the opportunities that the district gives. I mentioned I'm a teacher. I teach at a neighboring school district where I teach middle school technology and engineering education. I believe in public schools. I believe in the values that we can give to our students, especially here in the Boyertown area. Sorry, I saw you look. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Sarowski, and I'm running for a seat in Region 2. I'll tell you a little story about myself. I did 24 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, active duty, and when as you can imagine, being in the Coast Guard, you move a lot. Every 2 to 3 years, we're moving to different school districts, different areas, places that we did not know what they were about. But the first thing we always did was look into the schools, because the schools build a great community and a safe place to live. When I retired, I came here. I'm from Willow Grove originally, but my brother and my nieces and my nephews, they live here in Boyertown. He's been here for 10, 15 years, and he said, you guys have to settle here. We came, we fell in love with it, we settled here, and then I got a job and realized that a piece of me was missing. That service piece. Growing up in the military, you serve your country, you serve the community you're in, and it becomes a piece of who you are. And when you transition out of the service, that piece, that want to serve, never goes away. So it's great for me to have a job and be able to support my wife and my kids, but I wanted to be able to do something else and have purpose, and that purpose is serving the community as a member of the school board. Again, I value, just like Matt, I value public schools. I think they are a very important building block to what a community can be and is. And if you have strong schools, you have strong students, you have a strong community, it's vibrant, energetic, low crime, all of those things come from a great public school system. And I believe in it, I truly believe in it. And you know, as a husband, a father, and thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Connor. I come not from an education background. I'm over 40 years in healthcare, with the majority of my time as a nurse in people's homes doing home care. So I've been in homes of the uber rich to houses where they don't have heat, and there's a whole other feeling. You have to meet people where they are. You have to work with what they have, what they need, and there's also challenges. You know, some of them don't trust you when you walk in there. You have to try to make them trust you, and just be kind and understanding. So I kind of think that not just it's the same thing, but there's so many different people in our community that are, you know, you have to meet them where they are and understand that everybody has different challenges and different backgrounds. So that's what I'd like to bring is a science background, evidence-based practice, learning to research and using that evidence to make decisions to help increase productivity for our children. And I hope that everyone will vote for me. And I hope this will die out in November.
Thank you. Anna, set your clock for 1 minute. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to this question. We'll begin at this closest side of the table. Question is, it takes a lot of courage to be here tonight and to answer questions off the cuff. Why did you make it a priority to be here tonight?
I bring my experiences, my passion for learning, and my vast professional knowledge to serve the school. My husband and I bought a house in Boyertown 35 years ago. Both of our children graduated from Boyertown High School. We've had a wonderful life here. We are blessed to have 2 adult children who are, well, they're always my babies. They're adults, but they're thriving, and we are very fortunate and want to share. I want to share my passion for education with the children.
Thank you. Matt, the question is, it takes a lot of courage to be here tonight and to answer questions off the cuff. Why did you make it a priority to be here tonight?
I wanted to make sure that I was here so that people in the community could understand who I am and what I'm about. I mentioned before that I've got 2 children in the district. My decisions are for them, but also their friends, their families. I also wanted to make sure that you understand how deeply I care about education. Being a teacher, I see education all day long. I see students that struggle. I see students that thrive. And being a school board member, helping to make those decisions about curriculum, about the budget, where funds are going, particularly for special education and gifted education. It takes a lot of courage to speak up against something or for something in a public forum.
Thank you, Matt. Jason? It takes a lot of courage to be here tonight and answer questions off the cuff. Why did you make it a priority to be here tonight?
First and foremost, I'm here because you can't represent voices that you refuse to hear. And what I mean by that is when you are in public service, you are not in service for yourself, you are in service for the community. And the only way you can serve the community is if you listen to the community, you listen to what is going on in the community, what they're feeling, how the decisions that you make are impacting the community. And you can't make decisions inside a vacuum. So I'm here to put myself out in front of you all as the community because I'm here to serve you. I can't turn off comments. I can't avoid listening to what you all have to say because then why am I running, right? Like I need to listen to what you all have to say and take it to heart and bring that back to the board so that the board understands exactly what the community is going through. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to start that now. And when I am elected, we will have town halls to make sure the community is heard.
Thanks, Jason. Lynn, the question is, it takes a lot of courage to be here tonight and answer questions off the cuff. Why did you make it a priority to be here?
First and foremost, that I would be here, so I'll do what I say I'm going to do. But mostly so that I can meet you and you can meet me, and when you go to vote, that you have an educated reason to vote for me or for the candidate of your choice, if that's what you choose. I wanted to put myself out here so that you can ask me what I think and how I feel about things. Pretty much what Jason said. If you're not willing to listen to what people have to say, you can't represent them. So I think it's very important that we are here.
Thank you. Matt, the question to you is what makes you passionate about children education?
Sure. So I am a teacher, as I've mentioned quite often this evening. I teach technology and engineering education. My dissertation was on the underrepresentation of adolescent females in STEM education. So I believe that as we move through the educational process, right, as students, that they grow from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, go to college, and become productive citizens in the community.
Jason, what makes you passionate about children education?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm a father, so I want my children to grow up and be educated and be productive members of society. But we talked earlier about community. That education to me is one of the most important pillars of a community because that's where it starts. If you have an educated community, then you have a safe community and a vibrant community. I feel like in my service, that's where I wanted to start. I wanted to start with students' education because I want to continue having children, and I want to make sure that my children are in a school district that is thriving and that these children have one shot at an education. They have one shot, and I want to be there to make sure that they get everything they need to be competitive when they are out in the real world, and we all know what the real world is like, and I want to make sure that our students get that.
Lynn, the question is, what makes you passionate about children education?
I'm a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 5 boys, grandson, and they're all, the oldest is in 4th grade, and the youngest is a month old. So right now they're in school, and I watch them learning, and I realized that in order to be a productive member of society and to make good decisions, you need to have a basis, and your basis starts in your elementary school, where you learn kindergarten. They say everything you need to know you learn in kindergarten, and obviously, I want to help make really productive kids and happy kids, and make sure that our decisions are based on the latest evidence.
Thank you. Michelle, the question is, what makes you passionate about children education?
Children, all children are our greatest, our most precious resource, right? The children of our community are the hope, and certainly the future. I've shared with you how much education has meant to me personally, but certainly when we look at the obligation, the responsibility that we have to safeguard our children, to nurture them, and to bring them up to be free-thinking, critical thinkers, being able to make the decisions that they need to make to be globally equipped, to be citizens of the community, right? So it's an awesome responsibility.
Thank you, Michelle. Jason, I believe you're going to lead question number 3. How should the district prioritize spending when funding is limited?
That's a good question. We talk a lot about students and making sure we're here for their education, but we also serve the rest of the community. And 65% of our community doesn't have children in school, but they're still taxpayers in this community, and we're still here to serve them as well. Money needs to be spent responsibly, and it needs to be spent on education, and it needs to be spent on things that, as Lynn has said, are researched and are vital to a student's to their progress in school. We can't frivolously spend on things that aren't directly impacting the student's education and their ability to again be competitive in the real world, right? Our graduation rates are falling, so we need to make sure that we get that up, and that money should be invested in programs that ensure that, and not frivolously spend it on other things that aren't directly impacting these children.
Thank you. Lynn, how should the district prioritize spending when funding is limited?
Well, I think that if we start and we have a 5-year plan, we won't be making those decisions at the last minute. We'll already know where our funding is and how we're going to pay for the things that we decided 5 years ago that we want. So, I mean, the state is holding back money right now that we don't have, so that's something that we didn't see coming. So you kind of have to plan for that also, but I think that making monetary decisions needs to be done publicly and with, you know, like you would at home. You can't just decide to put an addition on your house without planning that and knowing where the money's going to come from and how you're going to pay for it.
Thank you. Michelle, how should the district prioritize spending when funding is limited?
We really need to keep in mind that quality schools equal quality communities. People will come into our communities, they will want to stay in our communities when our public schools are thriving. And so we really need to prioritize and look at, be able to truly peel apart and recognize what are the priorities that are going to move the needle forward in supporting our children to the best of their abilities. And we need people who are willing to think out of the box, to look at the resources that we do have, and to have that kind of
responsibility and stewardship for our resources.
Thank you. Matt, the question is, how should the district prioritize spending when funding is limited?
Sure. So we need to be good stewards of your money, our money, the district's money. First and foremost, we need to look at curriculum, because curriculum is driving what we do every day in a school district. So priority number one is not lose funding for the curriculum. Our teachers need resources, they need books. So again, first and foremost is the curriculum. Second is looking at the budget, looking at wasteful spending. What is a priority? What is a need? What is a want? So again, as we look through that budget line by line, we can, as Dr. Wiley said, kind of look and prioritize what the outside of the box thinking, right? To move that money around so that our students don't suffer.
Thank you, Matt. Lynn, question 4. What is your position on full-day kindergarten? And do you support the proposal to conduct a kindergarten feasibility study?
I am a proponent for full-day kindergarten. I think that we are one of the, if not the last, one of the last school districts in our area that does not have full-day kindergarten. I think that it will help the children to learn more in that year. I know two of my grandsons have been through kindergarten, and the day is so broken up. I don't know how they get much learning in there. They're at school for such a short time, and the problems with the buses and all of that. And I also believe that it will attract more people to our school district to move here, because that is something that parents of younger children definitely want, because they already are in full day daycare most of the time. So if you take them to half day, they're...
Michelle, what is your position on full-day kindergarten? And do you support the proposal to conduct a kindergarten feasibility study?
Absolutely. There is tons of research to show the importance of early education for children, catching them when they're curious, catching them when they are eager and wanting to learn, and how that then sets the stage for learning beyond those years. As an elementary principal, I had the privilege of being a part of that process, of working with kinders and recognizing how much they bring to the table coming through those school doors. We need to look at how we can bring this about by looking at alternatives. The feasibility study is certainly going to provide some suggestions for us. But as a community, we really do need to look at ways by which we can use the resources that we have, ways by which we can use the experts, our teachers, our administrators.
Thank you. Matt, what is your position on full-day kindergarten? And do you support the proposal to conduct a kindergarten feasibility study?
Sure. So conducting the feasibility study is the first step. Kindergarten is the first step in the educational process, right? Moving into first grade. I have some reservations that hopefully through the feasibility study, right, data-driven decision-making is where I stand right now. Our buildings are at capacity. We need 9 sections of teachers for kindergarten. One of the issues that I'm seeing is because we're at full capacity, if we add in these 9 sections into all of our elementary schools, that's going to increase our class sizes. So as we go through this feasibility study, things need to change, and it needs to go over a course of time.
Thank you, Matt. Jason, what is your position on full-day kindergarten? And do you support the proposal to conduct a kindergarten feasibility study?
I'm also a proponent of full-day kindergarten. I'm a product of it. My children are products of full-day kindergarten. And as Dr. Riley has mentioned, there is research out there that shows that full-day kindergarten is definitely beneficial to a child's early progress. That being said, I think the feasibility study is important because I'm not a subject matter expert on education. So I need the data and analytics to tell me how can our district do this? And then as someone who, I've managed a $150 million budget at the federal level in the Coast Guard, I understand that once you get that feasibility study, you have to figure out how you're gonna pay for it. It's not something that you can push through because that would impact the community. But it is something that we should do our due diligence and look into for these children and again, find ways outside the box, be creative, see if there's ways that we can find out what this is going to cost through that study, and then find the money.
I believe we're back to Michelle for the next question. How would you improve communication and trust between the board, parents, teachers, and the community?
It's so important to draw everyone into the circle of understanding the needs of the district and helping them to recognize and to be a part of the process. So communication is crucial to that. There's many ways of doing that. We have a large number of our residents who do not have children in the schools. And so by bringing them into the process, creating ways upon which we can use their resources to support what's happening in the school, communicating to them and providing that through curriculum nights, we called lunch buddies, bringing our seniors in who have so much knowledge and resources to support our students.
Matt, how would you improve communication and trust between the board, parents, teachers, and the community?
Sure. As Dr. Wiley mentioned, communication is key, right? We have a website which needs to have more information on it for the public, right? Newsletters. People still get the mail. We can still mail things out. We can use it bulk mailing, right, to save the money. Committees. I know we just restarted some new committees or continued committees that involve the board, administration. We should involve the teachers and invite the parents and community members to attend those committee meetings and make them involved. They're stakeholders too in this district. They need to help make but they should be offered the ability to give input on some of the decisions that we're making through these committees. They can talk, give suggestions, right? A board of 9 doesn't always need to work in isolation. Having people from the community talk about it will really increase this situation and make it better for the rest of us.
Jason, how would you improve communication and trust between the board, parents, teachers, and the community?
Yeah, for me, it's the 3 C's. It's communication, collaboration, and culture. First and foremost, they both say communication. I think we're all in agreement that there's a lack of communication between the community and the board right now. It's very hard to get in contact with the board. A lot of decisions are made inside vacuums. Town halls is one of the things that I want to do. I've had one already. I've had conversations in coffee, events to invite the community out and again, tell me what's on your mind. What are you thinking? How does this hurt you? What do you want to see? Make it easy for the community to engage with the board, your elected representatives. Again, make the website better. Open up public comment so it's not so hard to find the sign up. If you come to an elected officials meeting, if you come to a school board meeting, you should be able to stand up at the open public comment and comment. That's your right as a taxpaying citizen.
Thank you. Lynn, how would you improve communication and trust between the board, parents, teachers, and the community?
Obviously the things they already said, communication, being more open and transparent with what's going on. I think we could definitely do more with the website, the school website, maybe have more of an area for the board members where people can put in questions and, someone can look at those and possibly bring some of those up during our school board meetings, and make it easier for parents and community members to speak and ask questions during the meetings. And I've been out and tried to meet the community. I think that's important. But just being more available to the school board, the school, and maybe meet the kids more. I don't know if we're able to. I'd like to walk around the school and get to know the kids.
Thank you. Matt, the next question begins, how do you plan to address current issues related to board conduct?
As I mentioned in my opening statement, I'm a coach. I know what bringing a team together is, and that's what a board should be. It should be a team. There should be cohesiveness. There shouldn't be divisiveness. As members of the board, we should be able to communicate respectfully, have meaningful dialogue, because if we don't, we're just going to keep kicking the can down the road. No one's going to want to listen to each other. No one's going to want to participate. So as a board member, I'd like to bring the board together so that we can work together, so that we can hope to bring meaning to a true board meeting. Because again, we're making the decisions for the students and what is available to them, and also what's happening out in the community and bringing that into the school district.
Thank you. Jason, how do you plan to address current issues related to board conduct?
Yeah, I think we all can see what's happening when we watch the board meetings. There's a lot of history there. My time in the Coast Guard, I built culture in high op tempo command centers where lives are at risk, and people don't always get along when they work together. It's just the nature of human beings. But I excel at bringing people together, calming down and diffusing situations, and openly communicating. I think that's the most important thing. If you respect the person next to you or the person that you're working with, you don't have to agree with everything that they say. But that respect and communication will go a long way to making sure that you can work together. Because again, this is not about the 9 board members or any of us, when we're elected. It's about the community. And if you cannot communicate and work together as an elected representative, then you're doing the community a disservice. So that's exactly what I would bring. I'd bring that calmness, that culture to the board.
Then the question is, how do you plan to address current issues related to board conduct?
First, I would like to remind the people on the board that we're board for a school district of children, and if we don't act like grown-ups and act like we can talk to each other, how can we expect them to be doing that in the school? They can get detention or get expelled for some of the things that we need to be good examples for the kids. We can't have them watching people that are supposed to be making decisions for them and fighting. So that would be, I'd like to remind the board of that. And like I said, I've been in healthcare forever. I need to respect all of my patients and all of their families and everybody with different ideas. I don't get my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter. It's what's going on, what needs to be done, and I need to leave my opinions at home.
Michelle, question is, how do you plan to address current issues related to board conduct?
I think it's important for adults, the board, to recognize the responsibility that we would have. As a board, you are responsible for safeguarding and for protecting the children in the community. And so the bickering and all the childish behavior really has no place there. We need to find common ground and recognizing that we're all there for the purpose of moving the district forward. And so by focusing on that and still being able to disagree, to have the difficult conversations, but in a respectful, calm way that is going to move our purpose, our mission forward.
Thank you. So that means, let's see, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jason. So, I believe you're being asked to respond to this statement. The attendance tonight is a visual reference to the lack of involvement from the community.
Well, I think it goes back to what we talked about. If the community doesn't know it's happening, how can they attend? And we can share this forum, we can share the school board meetings in a plethora of ways, but we need to make sure that we're, again, thinking outside of the box and hitting every avenue to make sure that every resident is aware of what's going on, how they can have their voice heard, how they can attend meetings, how they can attend town halls. And one of the things that I did through my social media was try to open up the town hall and get the word out, not just through social media, but through my contact cards and through word of mouth. And even if we have to use mailers for those that don't use the internet or that don't visit the internet or social media, we've got to make sure that we are going after and providing residents with ways to become involved. So I think that it's a little bit of that where they might not even know what's going on.
Lynn, I believe you're being asked to respond to this statement. The attendance tonight is a visual reference to the lack of involvement from the community.
I just want to say that the board, the people running for the board didn't find the need to be involved. So I think we're setting a bad example for that in that way, that we should be showing up for these types of things. I also think that there should be a better way to get information out. I'm not sure how to do it because people aren't on my Facebook page, I'm nobody. So I think it would be good if we had a better way to get that information out. And I'm not really sure what that would be, but I would like to invite more people. Like Jason said, I don't know who even knew that it was happening. And possibly have more events so that people start to figure it out, and maybe less formal events so that people can just talk.
Michelle, you're being invited to respond to the attendance tonight is a visual reference to the lack of involvement from the community.
I don't like to make assumptions. I'm not sure why there's not a greater turnout tonight. I will say that there are so many things that vie for our attention. They're good things at times, and how we need to establish priorities. And as a board, a school board, we need to be constantly putting forward how important our children are and inviting the parents and the stakeholders and our community to recognize that and be a part of that. That in and of itself, I think, would bring more people into the school.
Thank you. Matt, you're invited to respond to the statement. The attendance tonight is a visual reference to the lack of involvement from the community.
Sure. We all have busy lives, right? Parents have children that they're running to sports or to dance or to some extracurricular activity. The way we can get more information out, right, through the school district, we have email, we have newsletters, we have bulletin boards that we can place information up on to inform the public of current events and things that are going on in our school district. I think we need to utilize more of these technologies, more phone calls, robocalls throughout the district to get information out on a phone call about, hey, there's a play going on at Middle School West this year, and here are the dates and the times. Or at the high school, here's the new musical this year. So again, using some phone calls.
Lynn, I think the next question is Lynn. Lynn, the question is, if things like band, sports, cheerleading, extracurricular things, integral parts of public education, why aren't they completely financed by taxpayers' funds?
Oh, it would be wonderful if they could be completely financed by a taxpayer fund. I would love that, but the amount of money that it takes to pay for everything, I don't think is feasible unless we raise taxes a lot. But, I mean, in a perfect world, that would be great. I do believe that there should be funds set up for children or parents that can't afford to pay for those things so that every child can do it. I would love to see every child do whatever they want to do, and money shouldn't be an issue. So maybe do fundraisers to pay for children that can't afford to buy their uniform or to pay for the extracurricular activities that they want to do.
Thank you, Lynn. Michelle, the question is, if things like band, sports, cheerleading, extracurricular things that are integral parts of public education, why aren't they completely financed by taxpayers' fund?
I do believe those things are so important to the development of our children. My daughter sold 1 million candy bars. We have residents who have resources, affluent residents who would certainly be willing to provide support for things such as this, put their name on a brick, or some way by which we tap into the resources in the community so that, as Lynn said, that it's not an option that we have to deny children who may not, they may not be proficient in the academics, but sing like angels, or be able to draw, or to be able to cheer, and express themselves in that way.
Now, the question is, if things like band, sports, cheerleading, extracurricular things are integral parts of public education, why aren't they completely financed by taxpayers' funds?
I agree that the extracurriculars are an extension of the school day, right? But also it's a choice to be in those clubs, in those extracurriculars. But a way to offset that is to do the fundraising, find sponsorships, sell ads, right? Generate that revenue, right, to help out the school district. Our budget is very tight, and I understand that, and I get that. But having more money come in through those sponsorships and through those ads, right, could really help out the sports, the band, cheerleading.
Jason? Things like band, sports, cheerleading, extracurricular things are integral parts of public education. Why aren't they completely financed by taxpayers' funds?
Yeah, again, I agree with everyone up here that those are integral parts of, a school experience. I played sports, I was in orchestra, I was a product of those extracurriculars, and they meant a lot. I met a lot of friends, I gained confidence in those things, discipline, all those things. It is certainly a very important part. Why is it not paid for fully by taxpayer money? We got here somehow, and either it's through mismanagement or whatever, but that plays into the 5, 10, and 15-year plans. I mean, as someone who's managed a $150 million budget, that's what we did. We planned out 15 years in advance to see where are we going to run into problems, and so we didn't have to make cuts. And I think these are things that maybe have gotten cut over the years, over time, more and more.
Thank you. The next question, Michelle, will begin with you. What's something the current board is doing well, and what's something that you would change? Ready?
Could you repeat the question?
Absolutely. What is something the current board is doing well? And what's something you would change?
I think currently there have been more presentations. So there has been the allowance of presentations from the staff, from the teachers, and they have been open to hearing these presentations and allowing the superintendent to move forward with the strategic planning and those types of formats. What would I change? I'm going to be very honest in saying I would change the behaviors that are demonstrated. It's embarrassing. Some of it to see the way in which they interact with one another. On Tuesday, there was a visitor coming to present, and honestly, I was embarrassed. I thought, what must he be thinking?
Thank you, Michelle. Matt, what is something the current board is doing well, and what's something that you would change?
I would also have to agree that having more presenters, showing more curriculum, moving into showing the community up on the boards, the numbers of scores, looking into doing feasibility studies, looking into getting bids, presenting that to the public, which is what they should be doing. Two things I would like to change. Committee nights. I would like to see the committees break into another night instead of a committee of the whole. I know that's a board policy to do the committees as committee of the whole, but I think it should have, some board members and some principals and some teachers in the community. I'd also like to see and also have more conversations when we call the question after the motion, the second, but have more debate about the topics.
Jason, what is something the current board is doing well, and what's something you would change?
Yeah, I think, and this might have been led by the superintendent, but the steering committee is something that, and the strategic plan is something that I think is a good thing. You need the plan for the future, and the presentations, getting that information out to the public and to themselves, I think is a good thought. The problem is that some of the bad things or some of the things that they're not doing so well, like not asking a lot of questions. I'm sitting watching these meetings and I want more information out of these presentations. I want them to ask the questions that I would ask. And I'm not seeing it. Outside the box thinking, you know, looking for grants, trying to get money in other places besides taxpayers' pockets. The culture, the communication with the community. These are all common themes, and I know I've said them over and over again, but they are things that are really lacking, and they're things that impact the community the most.
Thank you. Lynn, what is something the current board's doing well, and what's something that you would change?
I appreciate that they're trying to improve our school. I like that they are open to full-day kindergarten and want to find out more about that. And I love that they want to get turf fields for the kids. I think it's great because they're all going to bring things to the school that we don't have. I just feel that they need to be done with a budget, and I'm not seeing a 5-10-year plan to do those things. I want to see that. I want to see this is how much it's going to cost. This is when we'll be able to do it. This is how much we have to put away every year in order to do that. And can we get sponsorships? Like, I know they talk about getting sponsorships, but I want to see where are the sponsors and who has signed a piece of paper saying, I'm going to give you this money when it's built.
Thank you. Matt, current board member, I'm going to frame the whole thing so that it's out there. Current board members, what's the accomplishment that you're most proud of to date while serving Boyertown Area School District? Prospective board members, what do you hope to accomplish while serving our school district?
So, the second part of the question, you repeat the second?
For prospective board members,
Okay.
what do you hope to accomplish while serving?
Okay, thank you. I hope to accomplish open dialogue. Again, making sure that the community is giving input, encouraging the community to come out and give input. I hope to be part of curriculum decisions, making sure that what we're doing meets the standards of the state, meets the standards of our community. I want to make sure that our students are thriving in our school district and making those decisions so that they can be successful in life.
Jason, again, I'll read it for parity. Current board members, what's the accomplishment you're most proud of to date while serving? Obviously, I know that your perspectives, right? But I'm going to read it because it's on the card. I want to honor the folks that have submitted these cards. Prospective board members, what do you hope to accomplish while serving Boyertown Area School District?
Okay, first and foremost, I want to increase the graduation rate that has been steadily declining here, and then increase our ranking in the state of Pennsylvania, which is up a tick from last year, but has been down since COVID. But as Matt said, more importantly, it's that community engagement. I want to build excitement around the school district from not just parents, but from people who don't have children in the school district. There are programs out there that other schools in Pennsylvania use to help senior citizens get engaged with the school, to provide rebates to seniors who volunteer hours, and not just to put some money back in their pockets, but to create that excitement around the school district and for our community to get involved with the school, and then increase that communication and make sure that we are speaking to the residents of the school district and listening to what they have to say and taking that back and talking about it.
Thank you. Lynn, current board members, What's the accomplishment you're most proud of to date while serving Boyertown Area School District and prospective board members? What do you hope to accomplish while serving Boyertown Area School District?
I would like for 4 years from now for us to have a better budget and plan for the money. There's a few things that the school does I'd like to find out more about and find out why. I know that our seniors, a lot of them are only going to school half a day and because they already have all their credits. So I'd kind of like to find out why and if there's something else we can be offering them rather than just leaving because they only have 12 years. We might as well get as much in as we can. So I'd really like to work and find out if there's something that can change about that.
Michelle. Current board members, what is the accomplishment you're most proud of to date while serving Boyertown Area School District? Prospective board members, what do you hope to accomplish while serving Boyertown Area School District?
I'm really hoping to build better collaborations with the wonderful things that are happening in Boyertown presently. There's so many good things that are happening, organizations within the community, and if the school district could collaborate with the great things that are happening out there to further, certainly to build the school system, but also to better uplift the community. So I would really like to work with those organizations.
Thank you. Jason, the next question has two parts. So I'm going to be careful so that all of you can hear it, and then again, I'll read the question to each of you. This is about special education. What are your thoughts on the current status of special education in the district? The two questions. How are you planning to attract experienced special education teachers? And how do you plan to provide quality professional development for special education staff?
That's a really tough question because I'm not a subject matter expert on education, but what I do excel at is finding the experts and getting their input and listening to their input. I do know that special education has been lacking here for some time, and I think we need to improve that. Again, I can't give an answer on how I would improve it, but I can tell you that I will find the answer. Listen to those who know what they're talking about, the experts, and find a way to improve those programs because where we are now is not good enough. We need to do better.
Lyndon's question is about special education. The foundational statement is, what are your thoughts on the current status of special education in the district? And then the two questions. How are you planning to attract experienced special education teachers? And how do you plan to provide quality professional development for special education staff?
Well, my grandson was in Boyertown School District in 1st and 2nd grade and kindergarten. He has some type of reading disability, and the school picked up on it and were wonderful. So I'm not upset with what they did for him. I'm actually very happy, and my daughter is saying that the new school isn't doing as much for him, so I'm actually very happy with how they treated him. As far as finding new teachers and programs and supporting them, again, that's stuff I have to learn, and I'm hoping that I'll get that information and do studies on that. Michelle would probably be a better person to answer that as she has so much educational background.
Michelle, I'll ask you a question about special education. What are your thoughts on the current status of special ed in our district? How are you planning to attract experienced special education teachers? How do you plan to provide quality professional development for special education staff?
I recently heard, it was at the board meeting the other day, that we have about 23% of our students who have IEPs currently in the district. I think it's important for all teachers and staff members to have strategies that they can use within the classroom to support our students who are at various degrees of needing support to be successful. Co-teaching is a great way of bringing it full circle. There are some students who can benefit from being in the classroom, regular ed, special ed students, and having that opportunity to work together.
Thank you. Matt, this question is on special education. What are your thoughts on the current status of special education in the district? 2 questions. How are you planning to attract experienced special education teachers? And how do you plan to provide quality professional development for special education staff?
Sure. So I have not had a problem with our special education program here at Boyertown. My son is a special education student, and every experience that I've had with our special ed teachers from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and even now in 4th, I have been over the moon for the support that they have given him. Attracting teachers, be excited about the district. Show them all the good things we are doing in the district with our special ed students. That's what attracts good teachers, is promoting ourselves. Professional development, reach out to the Berks IU. Use their resources. We partner with them for a lot of things. They have the ability to send us some trainers. Look at outside agencies, right? For reading, for math. Dyslexic students, Wharton Gillingham, trainers. Bring them in, let them give professional development to our teachers so that they can better serve our kids.
Thank you. Lynn, the question to you is, how are you planning to address lack of resources for teachers?
I'm not sure what that question means. Do you mean like the stuff they have to buy on their own, or the curriculum? It would all be different questions. I don't like that teachers are out buying their own tissues and things they need for the classroom. I think that's ridiculous because I don't have to buy my own stuff when I go to work. It's provided for me. As far as other things, I'm not aware of what they don't have, but I would certainly want to learn more about it and work to give them everything they need to help our kids. It's all about our kids, so giving the teachers what they need is no-brainer for me.
Thank you. Michelle, how are you planning to address lack of resources for teachers?
I'm hoping that we can establish a budget that totally supports, that will support our teachers. Also, I have adopted a classroom whereby as a resident or person who doesn't have children in the school systems anymore and have some resources that I can bring into the classroom. I've done that, would certainly support featuring that or introducing that, as well as teachers, I think, are always going into their pockets to bring to the table what their students need, and just trying to think out of the box in ways in which we can support them as best we can.
Thank you. Matt, how are you planning to address lack of resources for teachers?
as Michelle said, teachers reach into their own pockets all the time to bring things into their classroom. We shouldn't have to, but we do, because we care about the kids. As a board, as we're looking at the budget, we need to look at the building budgets, see where the discrepancies are, making sure that each building is afforded the same amount, and not using the theory of if you don't use it, you lose it, and reducing their budget. Prices go up on things, and I understand that, right? So as we're purchasing things, are we purchasing them in bulk? Okay, using that bulk pricing. So again, looking at the school's budget, each individual school, right, and understanding what they used last year, what are they buying, and what are the needs for the kids for next year.
Thank you. Jason, how are you planning to address lack of resources for teachers?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We talked earlier about looking at that budget and making sure you're prioritizing the things that directly influence and help the children. And teachers is the biggest thing. My oldest daughter was a teacher for 7 years after she graduated from college, and she would tell me all the time about having to spend her own money. She wasn't in this school district, she was in a different one, but it's the same story for educators. To me, they are public servants. After she graduated and became a teacher and told me her stories, I always tell teachers, thank you for your service, because it is selfless service. We've got to look at that budget. We've got to look at grants, and as Michelle said, outside of the box ways to get more funds in, to prioritize those funds and help teachers so they're not coming out of their pockets. And that'll help us attract teachers into the school district as well. And that's what we need. We need to create excitement around the school district.
Thank you. Okay. So we're back to Michelle. Lynn started the last one.
I don't have a playbook.
Yeah, I think what I'm doing is I'm writing them down because I'm getting caught up in the answers, and I'm thinking, okay, so I write your names down, and then, yeah. How will you address Boyertown School District being above state average for out-of-district placement?
Wow. Well, that's very concerning. You know, that's telling us that we have children in our district, a number of children in the district who do not feel welcome in the schools. And so we certainly need to be looking and investigating why that is. Our schools need to be safe environments, safe meaning many things. Certainly physically safe, but also students feeling comfortable and welcomed into the school buildings. And so to say that we have that number, first of all, that's fiscally an issue because we're paying for that. That's a lot of money that is going outside of the district because we have to fund those children even though they're not in our schools.
How will you address Boyertown School District being above state average for out-of-district placement?
That is a staggering statistic. I can't fathom that we are above average. So that means we need to look within. What are we doing or what are we not doing to keep those students in our school district? Why are they going out? We need to figure out and try to ask the question of why are they leaving? What are we not doing to support them? And as Michelle had said, they leave for some reasons, right? But we need to see what those reasons are and to change our practices to make sure that we are supporting those kids, to keep them here. They're part of our community. They're part of our educational community too. And we need to make sure that we're supporting them in their academic, their social, and emotional learning in our schools.
Thank you.
Because we don't know the answer. If we don't know why, we can't act. We can look internally and try to figure out things, but the best way to do this is to find out exactly why these parents are choosing to either to go outside the district, to charter schools, cyber, whatever it is. Because as Matt and Michelle said, we are paying for that. We are paying for that for those out of district kids and taking it out of Hyde, and it's hurting the children that we have in the district. So get the answers from the source and then attack the problem. That's what I would.
Lynn, the question is, how will you address Boyertown School District being above state average for out-of-district placement?
Obviously, they've already said that we need to find out why they're not coming to school. That's the biggest thing. Maybe we could offer something to get them here. I don't know, maybe a different type of learning curriculum that they could be involved in. If they feel scared or unsafe, or we're just, for some reason, the school isn't giving them what they need, and we could work to try to give more of that, maybe have, I don't know, I really don't. That's something we have to work on as a board and as a community to try to bring them back, or at least open up the conversation to find out how we can get them back.
Thank you. Matt, you'll begin the next question series. Considering test scores aren't going up, but spending is, why should we think spending more is effective?
Can you read that one more time?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Considering test scores aren't going up, but spending is, why should we think spending more is effective?
Not always throwing money at the situation is going to fix it. I know spending is going up. I understand that. But the spending needs to be done efficiently and effectively, putting the money where it needs to go in the curriculum, buying certain curriculums, looking at different testing modals to see where the students are and how we can take that data from those students and move it into the curriculum to have the teachers alter their instruction, alter their curriculum to improve those scores.
Thank you. Jason, the question is, considering test scores aren't going up, but spending is, why should we think spending more is effective?
Yeah, I don't think spending more is always the right answer. Just like Matt said, you've got to spend and prioritize in the right places. The places that research shows are the most effective at increasing test scores, increasing graduation rate, keeping kids in school, keeping kids in the school district, as we just talked about in the last question. But we have to go and find those answers. We can't just sit on our hands and let it happen. We've got to, and then make a budget on our opinions. We have to go find the answers, seek those answers out, and then build that budget in that 5 to 10 and 15-year plan so that we're planning for the future and the worst case scenarios and prioritizing that money right into academics and making sure we're focusing on the problem at hand and then attacking that problem.
Lynn, the question is, considering test scores aren't going up, but spending is, why should we think spending more is effective?
I know that when the schools shut down for COVID, that all of the schools, or most of the schools, did see a lowering in the grade average and the kids excelling at their work. We aren't bouncing back as quickly as a lot of the other school districts. So I would I would think we should go and find out what they're doing that we're not, what's working for them, possibly bring in a consultant that knows what they're doing that's working, because it is, bringing up test scores is very important. And even if it does cost some money to find out why we're not coming up, I think that would be money very well spent. And bringing it up also raises our property value, so I think we'd all get it back.
Thank you. Michelle, the question. Considering test scores aren't going up, but spending is, why should we think spending more is effective?
I really like this question. It kind of made my brain tingle a little bit. Because we need to talk to our students and get them to recognize and understand that their education is their responsibility. We need to hold them accountable. We need to help them to develop coping skills, and all of these things don't cost, but certainly can move the needle in helping them to be more successful, their proficiencies. But certainly bringing them into the conversation and getting them to recognize that this ultimately is their responsibility and they need to participate in the process. Certainly we will, there are some times that you do have to invest the money, but ultimately let's get them talking about it.
Thank you. Jason, the question goes to you. What role should schools play in addressing online harassment and bullying?
I think that it's very important that schools play a role in online harassment and bullying because it carries into the walls of the school. It doesn't end with, Snapchat or Instagram at home. When they come in, it goes from online bullying to in-person bullying because this stays with these students forever. So I believe that schools should be a part of it, but they should engage with the parents because it really does start with the parents at home. So while school involvement is important, there needs to be a collaboration with the parents to ensure that whoever is doing this bullying is being held accountable at home and also in the school environment. But it shouldn't be on the school shouldn't be doing it on their own. It's got to be in collaboration with the parents. And I've seen it at my own kids' schools when they were growing up.
Thank you. Len, what role should schools play in addressing online harassment and bullying?
I know when I was a kid, if you got picked on at school, you could go home and it didn't go home with you. You could be safe when you went home, and it's not like that anymore. It follows them everywhere. So I think that schools definitely need to be involved in online bullying, in-person bullying. I think it starts with us. We have to do what we say we're going to do, and if we don't want them to say awful things to each other, then we shouldn't be doing it either. I think we need to present a united front, and definitely the parents need to be involved. Maybe have the parents bring more stuff home to the parents about it. But if somebody is found to be bullied online by their peers, it definitely needs to be stopped. And the school or the parents, the community.
Thank you. Michelle, what role should schools play in addressing online harassment and bullying?
I'm going to disagree a little bit with what I have heard from my wonderful peers here. I think that a lot of the online issues have to start at home. When and where and how are these kids getting online and creating this nonsense without their parents being aware of it. That's huge. And as an administrator, or as a teacher, or a board member, certainly, we're wanting to support you and wanting to ensure that this is not happening in school, if it's being pulled into school. Ultimately, it's at home, parents. It is your responsibility.
Matt, what role should schools play in addressing online harassment and bullying?
Sure. So part of my day, I deal with discipline. So if online bullying is happening and it comes into the school and it disrupts the school day, it is the school's responsibility to deal with that because it is going to affect the learning process. Our schools participate in PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports. That is a program Boyertown, I believe, is already using. But there's also other programs out there that we need to initiate, right? Character Strong is a program that we use at a neighboring school district, and it's a weekly meeting with our homerooms that teach the kids how to be good citizens, how to be positive students in the classroom. We also should have parent nights, inviting the parents to the schools, educating them on what's happening online, how to notice what's going on with their students online, giving them resources and supports to talk with their students about the online bullying and how to prevent it from them.
Jason, you started that one. I did. So Lynn, the question is, Boyertown has several 55 and over and assisted living communities. What could be done to make seniors feel more engaged with the school district?
I think we could invite them to come to the schools, maybe give them a special seat for the concerts and stuff if they're interested. Have the schools do drives for the nursing homes, that they bring gifts to the people that are in there. The 55 and over, I don't know, like just old-fashioned stuff that they really appreciate. Maybe the choir goes caroling at their house, you know, through the community at Christmas time, or does little things at their community that people that old like me remember when kids used to do things like that, and they would really appreciate those things.
Michelle, Boyertown has several 55 and over and assisted living communities. What could be done to make seniors feel more engaged with the school district?
Invite them in. Lunch buddies for students who, you know, for whatever reason may not have that kind of support at home. Our seniors could come in and eat lunch with them, be the cheerleaders for them, encouraging them to learn service projects for our middle school and high school students, going into the nursing homes and, I don't know, maybe teaching them how to play Kahoot, or, you know, working with them to see and to recognize the wonderful things that are happening with them at school, and just fostering through transparency, drawing them into what's going on in the school. Curriculum nights, Grandparents' Day. My in-laws still talked about that years after they came and was spitting watermelon seeds in second grade.
Matt, Boyertown has several 55 and over and assisted living communities. What could be done to make seniors feel more engaged with the school district?
Well, the first part of mine was taken. Invite them in. Yes, they're a wealth of knowledge. We always could use volunteers, right? They're coming into lunches, they're at recess, right? Another thing I wrote down is make pen pals. We're trying to encourage our students to write, be social, have a pen pal. Send them a letter. Drop them off, the teachers or somebody, could take them down to the office and somebody in the community could stop and pick them up. Read them, respond back to the kids. Sometimes that might be difficult because of the cursive writing and other things, which I think we still need to teach. But yes, I really do. I think they need to be involved as volunteers and again, socialize with the students. I think that's a great idea.
Jason, Boyertown has several 55 and over and assisted living communities. What can be done to make seniors feel more engaged with the school district?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it is invite them in. But again, you have to be very intentional with inviting them in. I mean, there's many different ways you can get information out to people, but it's the administration and even the school board to an extent. It's our responsibility to make sure that message is getting out to the 55+ community on ways they can get involved, and we have to create ways for them to get involved. We can't just say, come volunteer. There needs to be programs in place that the administration puts in place, as Matt and Michelle had said. And one of the things that I said I wanted to do was adopt from other neighboring school districts the volunteer program that gives seniors rebates on their taxes if they come volunteer. Yeah, it helps put money in their pocket, but it does create that excitement for the 55+ community with the school district. They get to see,
The question to which you just responded has an additional piece to it.
Is this for me?
Nope, this will go to Matt, Michelle. Sorry, I flipped the cards around because this makes more sense to dovetail it. Again, the one you just responded to is Boyertown has several 55 and over assisted living communities. What can be done to make seniors feel more engaged with the district? This is more evaluative. How would you assess the school district as a community partner, and what would you change? How would you assess the school district as a community partner, and what would you change?
I'm going to assume that you said that was part B to the first question.
Well, it's actually someone else's question, but I think it's attached to what do you do with 55 and overs and what might you offer, and you've responded to that. How do you assess? What is the current status, if I might edit?
Okay.
What's the current status in your assessment of our district as a community partner?
Okay.
And what would you change?
Thank you for the clarification. I was a part of the steering committee meetings that occurred earlier in the spring and into the summer. And so I did hear firsthand from some of the senior residents that they felt lack of communication was a huge issue. So transparency and communication. As a person, I don't presently have children in the school system, and I can speak for myself that I get very little information coming to me about what's happening in the district. I certainly seek that out, but that's because of my background that I do that. So, transparency and communication needs to really be increased.
Matt, do you have clarification before I ask the question?
Go ahead. Yes.
How would you assess the school district as a community partner, and what would you change?
Sure, yes, and communication, as we've all established, is lacking, right? And sometimes the website, some people don't know to go to the website, right? So that brings me back to what I had said earlier, is using newsletters, using mailers, using flyers, right? To inform the public about what's going on, showing them, again, these are the activities that are happening that are open to the public. Come on out and see what our students are doing. Let them show you what your tax dollars are being spent on, and letting them perform or seeing their science projects. So again, trying just to get more communication out to them. I think we need to do a little bit better job of that to the people that don't have children in the school district.
Jason, do you have the context?
Yes. Could you ask the question?
How would you assess the school district as a community partner, and what would you change?
I do think that the steering committee was a great start, getting everyone and different people in the community involved with the strategic plan for the future. I think that was a good start. I don't think the school district is a full partner with the community, and I think a lot of that is a result of the culture of the board right now and the communication that we talked about. Again, you can't represent voices that you refuse to hear. Comments turned off on the board meetings. No open comment period. You have to sign up at 1 p.m. The day before. You have to find the link. These are things we talked about before, but they are maybe it's purposefully, maybe it's inadvertently, but they're shutting out the community, and you can't be a partner with a community that you don't want to listen to. You cannot. I mean, it's impossible. As a public servant, your job is to listen to the community, and that's how you start that relationship.
Lynn, do you have the context? How would you assess the school district as a community partner, and what would you change?
I know that I don't know anything that's going on at the school if I don't try to find out. There was a big football day this past weekend that I don't know how, if you don't have a kid in school, I'm not sure how you knew that was going on. And I think if you don't live right here in town, I think it's hard to know what's going on. And this is a very, very big district. I live almost at Perk Valley, and then you have people all the way out past Bechtelsville and out that way. So if you don't drive through Boyertown every day, you don't know what's going on. So I think a mailer would be wonderful. I don't know how much that would cost, but that's something that we could look at and see if we could get some information out to everyone.
This question goes to Matt. What's your position on the turf field issue?
My position on turf fields, as of right now, I have questions and I have some concerns. I know the turf field budget has come in, or the bids have come in, and has been discussed. Our budget is tight. I know we budgeted for about $7 million and it came in under. I like the idea of turf fields, but I don't like the price tag. But now that the bids are in, now is when we can go out to the community, out to businesses and organizations to look for ads, look for sponsorships to bring the cost of those turf fields down.
What's your position on the turf field issue?
My children played sports on turf fields. I think turf fields are good for a community. But I also have questions about how this particular plan is being rushed. They're taking money from funds that may need to be used for facilities and to prioritize for student expenses, and it's being advertised as not a tax hike, except when you have to refill those coffers, you're going to have to raise taxes to do that. So I'm not against turf fields, but I think you need to budget properly and plan for those. you can't just buy stuff on credit. You have to save for the things that you want. And again, communicate with the community and tell them you want these in 5-10 years. So the way it's being done, I'd have to look more into it and get more involved into it as a member. But we have to really look at it.
Thank you. Lynn, what is your position on the turf field issue?
I would love to have turf fields. It seems like a lot of the other schools have them. Again, like I had said earlier, let's budget for it. Let's put money away every year, and if we can have them in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that's great. But I don't think we should take money out of the capital funds and use it right now to get turf fields, because it wasn't budgeted for 5 years ago. So it's not money that's there for that. Just planning. It's not a bad idea.
Michelle, what is your position on the turf field issue?
Well, I understand the desire for turf fields, the importance of sports. I think this is a situation of good, better, best. What is best? My number one focus is on the education of the kids and creating environments that are safe and welcoming. We are in a very precarious situation right now. We've budgeted, and yet we are not certain that we're going to be getting the monies that have been budgeted. And so to contemplate going into debt and using capital funds when we're also hearing that our buildings aren't up to capacity in the way in which they need to be, we really need to be frugal and forward-thinking and recognizing that this may not be the proper time for us to do that.
Thank you, candidates. You've answered a lot of questions. Thank you for submitting the ones that you did. You've had an opportunity now to hear responses, to gain insight to each of these candidates, but we'd like to offer you 60 seconds each for closing comments. Michelle, you drew number 1.
Our students are facing real challenges in our society right now, perhaps more so than has been in a while. And I think that it is so important for us all to develop a way by which we are communicating effectively and collaborating effectively in understanding and recognizing what they need to be successful. And so I say to you, my passion for education, certainly the knowledge that I've gained through the years from my successes and my challenges, that I feel that I am really equipped to bring some value to the table. So please vote for me.
I first want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Again, we all have busy lives, and you took time out of your own lives to be with your families and friends to come out to hear and see us. So thank you. Our students are our future, and that's what our school district's about. We're an educational institution that are preparing our students today for jobs in the future. Being on the school board, I'll be afforded to make those decisions and how they are educated, how we move them and make Boyertown a brighter place. So again, thank you for coming out.
Jason?
All right, yes, thank you everyone for coming out and being a part of this and asking really tough and thoughtful questions. again, I am doing this because I want to serve my community, and there is no better way to serve the community I live in than to serve the school district and the residents of the school district. As my peers have said, education is important to me. It is the number one pillar of a community, and I am very passionate about education and community, and it's all rooted in service. And I'm here to serve the community, communicate, create culture, and change the culture on that board to more collaborative and energetic, and that will bleed down through the school district and into the community. I'm positive that we can affect change together, and I hope that you all who are in my region will vote for me. Thank you.
Lynn.
Thank you for coming out and for showing as much interest as you are in who's going to be the best person to sit on the board at our school district. I hope that I've made you feel that I'm someone that would be very good there. I just am really happy that you're making an educated decision, and you know when you go to vote that you learned about us and what we stand for and how we want to make things better for everybody. I really appreciate that. And I think that I would be very good. I bring a different aspect to things, as everyone does. And I think it's good to have a very good variety of people and backgrounds on our board, because we all bring something special to it. And again, thanks for coming.
I, of course, want to thank St. John's Lutheran Church. I have the privilege of serving as their pastor, and I am always appreciative for the decades of opportunities where I've experienced every congregation I've served have provided a candidate's night. I want to thank you for showing up and for answering questions that come from your constituency. But I want to make sure that everyone knows in Region 1, you will vote for 2, Ruth Diroff, Matthew Ware, or Michelle Wiley. In Region 1, there are 2. In Region 2, Anthony Panarello and Jason Sorosky. And in Region 3, Jeffrey Zawada and Lynn Connor. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Timekeeper. Thank you, Shannon, for making sure that everything was coordinated and that everything's set up. Your decorum was marvelous. My job was to remain absolutely frozen and watching your faces, and out of the corner of my eye, watching you. Thank you for your engagement in these candidates with the district and with each other.